Welcome back to the Sports Source. I wish the cameras were rolling for that commercial break. Welcome back. This segment brought to you by Madisonville Marine. Right now we're in the middle of boating season, 4th of July. What better time to be on a boat? But you know what? It's going to be the next boating season before you blink. And that means if you didn't buy a boat this year, and it wasn't easy to get boats this year because some of the manufacturers are still catching up after COVID. Well, the best place to go is Madisonville Marine. Biggest selection, best prices, best customer service for more than 45 years they've been doing it. But if you didn't get the boat this year, be prepared next year. You know your friends are out there on the lake. Lucky stiffs. Why aren't you out on the lake? Next year you could be. Get down to Madisonville Marine, Highway 411 North in beautiful Madisonville, or check them out, madmarine.com. All right, UT's baseball run to the College World Series gave Vol fans something else to focus on for the past month. Now baseball has finished. SEC Football Media Days is in 3 weeks. This is typically that time of year when expectations start to go woo like a roller coaster. And then we usually hit October and it's woo down like a roller coaster. Let me ask you guys, though. Your website, you've got stories that get clicks. You take phone calls on your show. Are you finding that the excitement level for Tennessee football, same as it ever was, a little lower than usual, higher than usual? What's the excitement level for fall football at this point, in your opinion?
I would say lower than average, but better than last year when people aren't locked down.
Let's take out COVID. Let's throw out that year because that was just nobody was interested in watching anything.
I'd say slightly lower than average because people aren't ready to, flood the streets for a 6-win season. I think it's pretty much that simple.
Okay. John?
Yeah, I would agree. I do think it is a little bit lower, but I also think there's still some questions that have to be answered. Exactly what's the path for this Tennessee football program? We don't know the penalties that are coming because we know that penalties are coming. I do think that many like what they've seen from Josh Heupel, but I also think that as many are waiting to see what happens next.
After so many coaches in so few years, there's a I don't want to get burned again factor that has to be at play in people's minds. I mean, that's just natural. Ryan, what are you guys seeing? About the same or a little lower? Or?
About the same. I think a lot of the numbers you see are pretty similar to past years. Things are always a little slower in the summer, but I think there's been just as much interest as usual in roster development because there has been so much happening on the transfer portal front. So in things like that, I think people are still very interested in what's happening with the program. But overall, when you talk about the season and things like that, I think there is just a little bit less buzz than a typical year because, again, for all the reasons mentioned, it's not a team that's expected to do a whole lot. And there's, like you said, a wait-and-see factor with Josh Heupel's staff after going through 4 different coaching staffs in a decade. You want to wait and see what happens with this one before jumping all in.
I also wonder, and I'm going to keep this a quick segment so we can jump into this transfer stuff because it never stops. But baseball you had a bigger group than normal that jump on because it's the College World Series. It's about a month deeper into summer than it would normally go before people put their minds to football. Do you think that has had an impact on it? The fact that the baseball had such a good run that it might have stopped a little of the football momentum or football interest so far?
I think what baseball did was it allowed football to go on the back burner for many, that they could just throw themselves into enjoying what was an incredible ride. And you have your first Eastern Division crown since '97, you host your first ever Super Regional, and you make your trip to the College World Series first since '05. But so I think that some, while they might have been thinking after spring ball and seeing that first wave of people that hit the transfer portal, man, this isn't looking good. We'll put that back. And then, you've also had other things that have deflected the attention, which would have been, in fact, this past week, an incredible commit locally to Rick Barnes and Tennessee basketball. When you look at the talent, how they quickly reshaped that roster, I think these are things that have pushed the reality of what Tennessee football could be experiencing this fall back burner. Let it simmer.
We asked that same question last week in a different way, and I said, should Josh Heupel write a thank you note to Tony Vitello for keeping in this segment I asked, has that prevented the excitement from growing? Last week I asked, is it something that helped them hide it? And I think you're correct. Your answer right there said, yeah, it's they needed to be on the back burner for a while and it kept them there because the transfer portal continues to siphon off players. Yes, you're getting some, but you're losing more. Let's talk about that next. The truth about the transfer portal coming up on the Sports Source. Come on back.